Today, Precarious plays
Lost Kingdoms.
Help me out here. I think it was.
Fuck.
I think it was a recent Diablo game where, like, you could get stuff for all of the different classes, and then basically you would just turn them all into a mush dust paste to make all the rest of your stuff a little bit better.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying that feels a little bit impersonal, whereas, like, if you're upgrading your cards, it kind of feels like you've had the same card for a long time. Right?
Right.
So
But
that's nice.
Dark Cloud does an excellent job of that. Spiral Knights is a more current game that I like a bit that does that, where you build your stuff into other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, this is exactly the same one. I know I've replaced
The grandfather's axe situation.
Yes, I know I've replaced the bullets that it uses and the barrel and the receiver, and I've replaced all the bits 20 times over, but it's still the same gun to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's my little blaster. Go pew pew pew.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to Gerd.
It's funny how that works, right?
Yes.
Mentally. Like, well, I've replaced every single bit of this, but it still feels like the same thing because I didn't replace the whole thing all at once.
Right. Okay, so let me give you. I don't think anything has enough experience yet.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't look like it. Okay, so this is Lizard Man.
Mm-hmm.
I know that he can eventually become other kinds of lizard men.
Mm-hmm.
An example of which is right here.
Mm-hmm.
This is the red lizard.
Red lizard.
Yes. So, and I think he can actually also become. Not Cell. That's the wrong one. He can also become, I think, a Dragon Knight. Or at least one of them can.
The Dragonite? That doesn't look like Dragonite.
I think Dragonite would be cooler if he had a giant two-handed blade.
Where would
That
he
he uses
keep it?
one-handed.
He doesn't have any hands.
You keep it in his mouth.
Aww.
No, they would have evolved how to make that fine carrier bag that Dragonite had in the first movie, and they would all just carry around a big mail bag.
Dragonite's the only, like, dragon.
No.
No?
No, not anymore.
Well, not anymore, but at the time.
No, Charizard, but he actually wasn't a dragon type. So
That's
that
what
was
I'm
confusing.
saying.
Yeah, and in the first generation, that's what that's called. I can't really do anything yet. I think I'm gonna buy one of these because I don't think the only water type weapon card I have.
A manta ray. Those
does
things
that
are so
compare to-
freaking cool, scary.
Is this 30 overall, and this is. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it. Just because I want a water attack outside of Dragon Knight.
When I was
But it was Dratini, Dragonair, and Dragonite. Those were the three original dragons, but they all were part of the same evolutionary
Imagine
line.
Dratini with, like, a claymore, like, in its tiny mouth, just holding on to just, like, part of just, like, the hilt.
I'm pretty sure I'd go to jail.
Just
Imagining that.
Why? It's too cute.
Sure.
It's just
I don't know, it just seems mean.
Yoshi noises. Bloop, bloop,
You're being too quiet. I can just like.
bloop. Hey, so, shoot, I forgot. Hello. Aren't you gonna keep 2 save files? Never mind, you're already doing it. Great job, good job. Thanks for doing that.
So more about this game. It took so many things that I liked in my childhood and just put them all in one place. It has a female protagonist, which was very uncommon at the time.
I noticed that, and I'm just like, oh, thank God. Well, I mean...
She's a pretty princess, but...
Who cares? She's definitely going out to do the things. You can be pretty.
Well, no, I'm saying, like, that's one thing that I appreciate quite a bit, is I understand on a macro level, right?
Yeah.
It's important. Like, there's an overwhelming number of sources that say, like, oh, you need to be pretty, you need to be this, you need to be thin, right?
Yeah.
So it's not cool at the topmost level, at a very broad scale, to reinforce those things.
By having, like, a pretty active female protagonist that has like fucking angel wings and nice hair and
you're like blonde.
yeah, but she's
and,
not wearing heels, so that's, you know, one thing.
Because what I'm getting at is that oh wait, I remember that. Okay. I think if I remember, I think it's once to the left and then several times to the right. Is this the one?
Mm-hmm.
Ha
No.
ha!
Yes.
Ah, yeah.
So what were you getting at? What were you getting at about gender stereotypes?
No, I just want to say I can't remember like the names and faces of any of the teachers I had growing up in primary school.
But you can remember,
I can remember that shit. Poison rat. I remember this treasure.
Mm-hmm. But
Okay.
yeah.
So, yeah, at the topmost level, it's important to not reinforce those very, very unfair stereotypes.
That, like, you have to be pretty, and you have to do this, and you have to be thin, and you have to look a certain way, and you have to have certain proportions.
Right, but on the personal level, for me, I really appreciate just people who are generally just exemplary.
Mm-hmm.
And just
being good looking is
just part of that. Mm-hmm. So seeing a lady who was pretty and is brave and is also tough enough to get fucking like shot at the end of the game, you're getting like smacked with giant claymores, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like fuck the giant golem that we already fought. That thing was massive, and it has enough physical strength to burrow through the ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was jumping through the air. I think it was burrowing through the ground. Yeah. Although that's a little...
Well, and one weird thing that I feel like happens with like pretty girls is that enough of the time it seems like you can't be pretty and also like really tough at the same time.
Oops.
I mean, I know that there's a lot that goes a long way to fix that now, like a lot more pushing for girl sports and things like that. But I don't know, like I always felt growing up like I could either spend my energy being pretty or smart or tough or, you know, like I had to be a thing, you know?
Yeah.
So I went with books. And thus, I have to look up makeup tutorials when I feel like dressing up for fun, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But, like...
Me too, bro.
All of it is fun. Like, it's good to do as much of it as you can, you know?
Yeah, just as long as it's, like, something you choose and
not,
you're interested in.
And not something that you're being, like, stressed out about.
That's why I've worn a dress before.
I remember that. Yeah. You don't have any shame.
Not going to provide any context for that either.
No, me neither. I don't remember all of the context anyways, but it was for a good cause.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Terrible thing is you didn't look bad.
I got a maelstrom for my effort. I think my shoulders are too broad.
They are entirely too broad, but I don't know.
If I filled out a little bit, I could probably do maybe like an overly strong.
No. You just have to get like one of those 80s style dresses with the shoulder pads. Only we take the shoulder pads out.
Ah.
Yeah, like you. It's just the great thing about women's clothing is the exceedingly crazy variety of shapes and structures available to make you look like something you're not. Hey.
That was sort of a downer way of phrasing that, but okay.
Well, I'm just saying, like, say you got a big ass and you don't want it to look so big, then you can get things that look a little more slimming in the butt. You know? I mean, that's maybe a little dysfunctional, but it's kind of nice to have such a large tool set. At least for cosplaying things, right?
I bet people are gonna get ill watching me swing this camera around.
I don't know. I'm watching you. I'm not ill.
I'll try and do it less.
Did you hear me?
Yeah. Well.